So that new Final Destination movie's coming out. Final Destination 6, huh? I bet you're thinking, oh, dude, you were such a big horror fan and you grew up in the 2000s. Well, I mean, I was a teenager in the 2000s, so obviously I must be a huge fan of the Final Destination series. You'd be wrong. I want to do a video, which obviously I'm not good at making video stuff because it's just my laptop camera. But I want to do a video series where I go through the Final Destination series. And I'm here to tell you, I hope I don't sound like an elitist asshole by claiming this, but I think that Final Destination, the first one, is a piece of trash. It's hot garbage, y'all. I am like shook to my core that this became a franchise. It's bewildering to me because I don't think anything about it works. I mean, I waited a little bit before I decided to kind of like record myself doing it. I told a friend kind of like my thoughts on the whole piece, but it's hot garbage, y'all. It is not worth a lick of your time. I watched one person who did a YouTube video on what I honestly think is the worst scene in the entire movie. And they pointed some things out in it that, to be fair, I hadn't noticed, but I'm also not a fan. So, hands off on that. But here's the thing, even if there is some sense of technical and artistic prowess to it, it doesn't work as an entire piece. Excuse me while I clean my nose a little bit. Okay, let's break it down. The characters are awful, and I don't care about a single one of them. Especially our lead, Alex. So, you're not going to be watching this video if you haven't seen this movie. That's clear to me. So I'm not even spoilers throughout the whole series. Um, Alex has this premonition that the plane is going to explode. Which that part you're like, okay, that's interesting. I think I can go. I think I can jump on board with this. You would think that through the course of the movie, they would lay some sort of explanation why Alex is uniquely gifted to have the premonition, whereas everyone else around him doesn't. But no, you'd be wrong. Alex is a nothing character. I know he's the eyes of the audience. He's like the horror movie audience, like the vessel character, because he can see death coming, because that's why we go to these movies. That's why we watch them. We want to see the spectacle of the death scenes. We want to see the special effects. We want to be surprised. We want to be shocked. My gosh, y'all. Alex has the premonition. The people get off of the plane. Before I continue on that, Kerr Smith, y'all. I just have to say it. Kerr Smith. I've loved him since Dawson's Creek days. It is really freaking weird watching him play a straight man. I know that he's straight in real life, but it's weird because I'm so used to his Dawson's character, and this was prime Dawson's time. Like, I think this was shot in between seasons 2 and 3. So, definitely released in the middle of the third season. But my goodness, it's just. I don't think Kerr's that gifted of an actor. Well, I think hearing him trying to be this menacing jock when he plays such a gentle, soft-spoken character in Dawson's. His voice is just, it doesn't sound menacing, y'all. At all. I'm not intimidated by his character at all. I don't know why Alex would be. Okay, so Alex has the premonition. They don't have any explanation. And then the worst scene in the movie, which there is an entire YouTube video dedicated to it, is the first death scene. Not the premonition, the guy who gets killed in the bathroom. And this was the part of the movie when, even as a teenager, and I saw it probably when I was like 15 or 16, I was like, this movie is horrid. It is so bad. Because I'd always thought that the series explored the idea and the concept of death as not something supernatural, not something that, like, had powers beyond what humans already do and maybe, like, freak accidents. That's why I thought the series was. And from my recollection, keep in mind, I'm watching 2 pretty much right after I record this video. My recollection is that that's the way that 2 played out. It was just a bunch of freak accidents. There was no supernatural component that couldn't be explained logically. Well, the first film don't do that. We get Death's shadow in the mirror, and you're like, oh no. Dude, no. And not in the way that the filmmaker wants you to. It's the, oh. It's that. So, okay, so basically this, like, the toilet starts leaking. And water starts dripping on its own. Like Death is able to loosen it by itself, so it starts dripping, and then the water kind of follows the character because that's the way water works, we know. He ends up slipping, the man dies, and then here was the part, I'm telling you, I like zone out every time I see it because I've seen it 3 times now. The water, y'all, the thing that he slipped on that eventually led to his death, magically and supernaturally cleans itself up. I couldn't get past it. I'm like, I am so done with this premise. This was one of the stupidest things I have ever seen. And I have seen a lot of stupid stuff over the years. Oh my goodness. Oh man. And there's just so much that's bad about this movie. I just don't care about anybody in this movie. Okay, so before all of that happens, they get off the plane, kaboom, it explodes, because of course it does. This is a horror movie after all. But it's a teenage horror movie, and not a good one at that. There's nothing engaging about the villain. I mean, people say, well, Death isn't really a villain. It's just a bit stupid. And I'm like, shut up. I need something to latch onto besides just cool death scenes. I need a character I want to root for, or a villain who's really interesting and engaging for me to spend time with. This movie don't provide neither of those things, y'all. So we have this scene where the parents come and they console the people who had stepped off of the plane. And we see that Ali Larter's character, I didn't even bother to learn her name, to be honest. She, her parents don't show up. So that's the whole reason why the scene is there, so that we can know for later, oh, there's something weird. She doesn't either her parents are dead or they don't care about her at all. One of those two. But anyways, the important thing to note for this is that Alex's parents are there and they comfort him. And then they disappear for like the rest of the movie. You would think that if your teenage child had escaped death that closely, that you would be eagle-eyed on the kid. And I'm telling you, Alex goes wherever he wants. Wherever he pleases, he just willy-nilly goes there. He's literally like stalking some of the characters in the movie. Parents don't show up for that. At one point, this is near the end, Alex is in this cabin by himself. And like, I know like the whole premise at that point is supposed to be like, oh, he's isolating himself so that various things in his environment can't kill him, but it don't matter because death supernaturally acts on its own, because we've seen that about an hour earlier. Oh my goodness. So he's in the cabin, and my first thought was, the hell are his parents? Where are his parents? Why didn't they call the police to try and find where he was? Is there like this whole deleted subplot with the parents? Did they just assume that only teenagers would watch this movie, so they didn't feel a need to explain it? Hell, even Friday the 13th, y'all, which I adore, has an explanation for why the parents ain't there. They're at summer camp, okay? There is no explanation in Final Destination why the parents aren't there and why these kids can go around wherever they want to, other than the script says that they did. I did a little bit of research, kind of like the bare minimum of research. Apparently, the whole concept was pitched. Now, this is according to Wikipedia, which I know people are like, oh, you can't trust Wikipedia. I trust Wikipedia. Wikipedia is my friend, y'all. It was originally pitched as a spec script, which is kind of like you just throw an idea for an episode for a TV show for the X-Files. And when I learned that, all of these huge holes in the story made sense, because this was not thought out. This was designed to be max like 45 minutes. And this thing is stretched to an hour and 40 minutes. That's why there's no explanation for all of these things. And here's the thing. Some people might get really offended. I mean, let's be real. Nobody's going to watch this video. Like, nobody on the planet is going to watch it, except for maybe a couple of my friends. But take this journey with me. You don't even have to watch the movie. Just watch the videos. Watch my slow descent into madness as I go through the series. The only reason that I even started watching the series again was because I have a coworker right now who's obsessed, and she's so excited about 6 coming out. I can't even tell her that it's a piece of trash. This is a nothing movie. There's nothing good about this movie. I absolutely hate it, and I've hated it all 3 times I saw it. I keep on thinking, which I'll know better this time if I ever do choose to do this again. I keep on thinking, well, maybe it'll be better this time. No. It gets worse on every viewing for me because I get older, so I see more faults in it. The only one in the entire series, because there's 5 of them at this point, soon to be 6, the only one that I ever hear anyone say anything about is 2. It's not even the first one. Like, nobody talks about the first one except for crazy people like me who like to suffer. Anyways, Final Destination 2, from what I remember, which I saw it way back when I was a teenager, it actually took the premise and did it kind of well and kind of in a logical standpoint. And the scene that everyone remembers is the premonition scene from 2, not from any of the others. This first film can be forgotten. The only reason in my mind that it's become like a franchise that they keep going back to is because people remember that scene from 2. Now, the first one obviously was successful enough for them to warrant trying it again, but I also think because they had done it once before, they were able to make it better. Having said that, I might come back next week and say that was a giant waste of my time. But until then, keep living your life, enjoy it while it lasts, and don't do what I did and waste an hour 40 minutes watching Final Destination 1. Okay, bye!